so excited to teach you one of my ultimate favorite recipe, and it is Veg'd meatballs. The reason why I like it is because you can make them in large quantities all at once and then keep them in the freezer for up to 3 months. That's almost a whole school term. So let's get started by making the Veg'd meatballs. If you have kids and you find it hard to serve them vegetables, this is a great recipe because there's tons hidden inside. We have celery, we have carrot, as well as onions. Now feel free to mix up. I had red onion and cooking onion today, but if you have sweet onion, you can also add that. And then with that, we're actually binding this with ground flaxseed. This recipe doesn't require any breadcrumbs or eggs. Instead, we rely on the binding powers of omega-3 rich ground flax seeds. You can use ground chia seeds and substitute for this as well. Now let's start by preparing the vegetables. I'm going to do the celery first. So I've already washed them. So what we need to do when we're preparing the celery is just trim the outer ends. Next, cut them in thirds to make it a little bit easier to chop. From here, we're going to cut them as small as possible. So cut them into little sticks. And then from there, we're going to cut it as small and fine as possible. So we're going to add all this chopped celery into our large mixing bowl. Next is our carrots. Now I'm going to show you 2 different methods to grate our carrots. The first method is using the traditional box grater, in which we'll take a carrot and we'll grate it. We're using this type of flat kind of grating, not the finest one, but the large one. Now, if you're like me and you're scared of grating your hand off, what you can do is wear a dish glove, and that way you won't ever hurt your hand. All the way down, we're gonna be grating a lot of carrot into these. Now the second method, because this one does require quite a lot of manpower, you can get your kids to do it. I'm gonna show you, if you have a food processor or blender, you can do it this in the second method, which is you're gonna take the carrot, chop them in half, into your food processor or blender, you're gonna throw your carrots right in. And then we're gonna pulse it at about level 3 on the Vitamix or food processor, just press the pulse button. Next is our onions. We're gonna do it again, small dice. Let's start off with trimming the ends off. And then we're gonna slice it in half. Always put the flat surface on the chopping board so you don't get a wobbly surface. From there, peel off the outer skin. Like so. Now if there's any parts that are not pretty, just cut it off. Next, when you see the onions, you see these little lines. We're actually gonna follow the lines across and make small slits, making sure to keep the end of the onion intact. So you're gonna take your knife, go all the way down now. The closer you make the incisions, the smaller the dice. From there, we're going to cut it the opposite way. Once you reach the onion, you can no longer hold it. Just turn it flat and trim at the other side. Remember, your fingers are a lot more precious than 1 cent of an onion. And you just roughly chop it the opposite way if they're not diced. So in this bowl now, we have all our 3 vegetables. We have our celery, we have our carrots, and we have our onions. What we're gonna do next is add all the other ingredients before adding the meat so you don't have to wash your hands twice. So into here, the binder, as I said before, is ground flaxseed. So I'm gonna add in the flax. Next, we're gonna be adding the garlic powder. If you want to use fresh garlic, go ahead. I'm just gonna use garlic powder today. I just find it a little bit easier because you don't get bits of garlic. From there, we're gonna be adding our Worcestershire sauce. Now this is really important. It gives a little bit of an acid to the meat, so it's really, really nice, and it actually helps tenderize the meat. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in our Worcestershire sauce. To season it, we're gonna add salt and pepper. Now keep in mind, this is a standard recipe, so if you want to add your own twist and add oregano in there, basil, rosemary, sage, go ahead. Hot chili flakes even. I sometimes like adding a dollop of jam in here to give that really nice sweet flavor. Next is a freshly ground black pepper. If your kids don't like pepper, omit it, that's totally fine. From there, we're gonna be adding our meat directly into here. Now when making batch cooking, you may as well just make 4 pounds all at once. Today I'm using turkey, but this recipe again is very versatile. Feel free to add ground pork, a mixture of chicken, turkey, pork, and beef if you wanted to. Veal is also a nice choice. Now that our meat's in, I like using my hands to mix everything together. So let's dig in. If you're wondering where I got this ginormous bowl from, which comes in handy when I'm tossing salads and making big batches of meatballs like this, I actually go to restaurant kind of depots, they call it, where wholesalers and restaurants go to purchase their ingredients. So if you live in Mississauga, there's one called A1 Cash and Carry. They actually have A1 Cash and Carry throughout many different cities, so check one that's close to your home. Now once you've incorporated all the ingredients into your meat mixture and it's nice and mixed in, we're gonna form them into our meatballs. When you're making such a large batch, it's really kind of more efficient to use an ice cream scoop that's retractable. You can find these in most kitchen warehouses or like home centers or such things like that. So you're gonna form them into meatballs like so, that way everything is even. And then once you press it, you can just kind of roll it out slightly more and put it right onto your pan. I'm sometimes lazy and I just like to put it right on without even reforming, but it's really up to you. I just formed a tray of meatballs, but you can also change this batter if you wanted to and make hamburger patties with it. So what I like to do is take a 1/3 cup measure and I'm gonna stuff the 1/3 cup measure with the meat and veggie. Press it on pretty hard, and then from there, all you need to do is tap it on the pan and it forms patties. So I just finished making my meatballs as well as the burger patties. Now in order to bake and in order to be efficient as possible, you're going to turn on the convection oven so that way the air is circulating throughout the entire oven. You can cook all 3 trays at the same time. I'm going to put them right into the oven now, and I just have 3 racks like so. I'm going to slip them in and bake them for about 25 minutes and then they're done. Made a ton of meatballs, which I will now freeze, but let me just review with you what we can make with these Veg'd meatballs. You can eat them just as is, or add it with a little bit of easy marinara sauce. You could also stir fry some vegetables and have it with some steamed rice as a really, really simple weekday lunch. And last but not least, we can also change it into a hot panini by smushing down the meatballs into the sandwich. This recipe is one of the most versatile ones, and I really think your kids will enjoy it.